UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Dos Santos. Fight Night at 146. Let's predict it, guys. Quickfire time. Quickfire. If you're wondering why I'm wearing the same shirt in all my videos, I have not got time to record in the next few days. I'm going to be busy. So I'm getting them all done now, boys. Let's go! Let's go. Alex White versus Dan Moret. I don't give a shit whoever wins that fight. I really don't give a shit. So who the fuck cares? Alex Morono versus Zach Otter. I'll give it to Alex White first of all in the first one. I'll give it to Alex Morono in the second one. I really don't give a shit about any of these people's names. Lewis Smolka versus Matt Schnell. Schnell means quickly in German. So Matt Schnell's going to get it done quickly. There you go. Maurice Green versus Jeff Hughes. Go on the UFC schedule type in UFC schedule on Google. Maurice Green is a big heavyweight black guy. Jeff Hughes' picture is a small Chinese woman. I'm going to go with Maurice Green, in my opinion. Jeff Hughes is about to get blacked. Grant Dawson versus Julianne Rosa. Grant Dawson coming off Tuesday Night Contender Series, 12-1. He's the guy who made up that he got bullied his whole life, even though he definitely didn't, and he started whinging about it, and now he got a lot of fanship behind him. 12-1. I'm going to give it to Grant Dawson. Julianne Rosa, he's been good enough to stay in the UFC, but not good enough to string any wins together. So, I'm going to give it to Grant Dawson for the win. I think he's going to wrestle fuck him and take the decision. Or get a submission win. Marion Renault versus Yana Kunitskaya. I'll give it to Yana Kunitskaya. She's a big bantamweight. She's fought at featherweight before. She fought Chris Cyborg. Took Chris Cyborg's back, but then got fucking pounded unconscious. So, yeah. I'll give it to her. Yana Kunitskaya. She has a nice ass as well. Here's one I'm interested by. Preliminary card. The headliner. Anthony Rocco Martin versus Sergio Moraes. Anthony Rocco Martin, guys, is a savage at welterweight. An absolute savage. He joins a division. He knocks out an Asian guy. Don't know his name. He doesn't knock him out even. He just gets a decision. Dominant victory. Then he goes on to knock out Ryan LaFleur. He knocks out Ryan LaFleur with a beautiful head kick in the third round. Dominates the whole fight as well. Almost submits LaFleur before that in the second round. Then he goes against Jake Matthews, another streaking up-and-comer, and they match those two together. You know what the UFC does? If there's two guys rolling on a couple wins in a row, they match them together to cancel each other out, and there can be only one Highlander. Anthony Rocco Martin starches him, knocks him down, gets a submission in the third round. Dash choke. He's a savage, guys. He's fighting Sergio Moraes. Anthony Rocco Martin is a jiu-jitsu player. He had some troubles at lightweight because the weight cut was so bad for him, he said. He just couldn't perform. And he also said that he's a jiu-jitsu guy and he didn't have much stand-up and he had trouble sort of getting guys to the ground. But now, the way his game has evolved at 170, even though he's small for the weight class and he'll be smaller than Sergio Moraes, Anthony Rocco Martin is improving his stand-up so that guys are shooting on him. And that's a bad idea. If you're shooting on Rocco Martin, you're going to get submitted. I'm going to go with Anthony Rocco Martin by knockout. I'll go knockout. Knockout, definitely. Tim Boetsch versus Omari Akhmedov. I'll go with Akhmedov. Tim Boetsch coming back after a long layoff. An old veteran of the game. Taking a lot of damage in his career. He's 38 to Akhmedov's 31. You know. He's coming off a loss as well. I'll give it to Akhmedov because Tim Boetsch is so old he's balding. Let's be real. Beneil Dariush versus Drew Dober. Very interesting. I'll give it to Beneil Dariush. Beneil Dariush is good enough to beat these low lane. These fucking tin cans. He's big enough to beat the unranked guys. He's just not good enough to beat some of the big ranked guys, you know. Obviously, Beneil Dariush has a knockout win over James Vick, but with James Vick's chin, getting a knockout win isn't that impressive. But yeah, for this next fight, I'll go for Blagoy Ivanov versus Ben Rothwell. Ben Rothwell is a fat fuck. He's older. He's a lot bigger. I'll go with Ben Rothwell getting it done by submission. I'll do it by submission. I think he's gonna get him down. He's gonna smother him with his belly. He's a lot bigger than this guy. So I think Ben Rothwell gets it done by decision. Tim Means versus Niko Price. Tim Means a journeyman, good enough to beat the tin cans, not good enough to beat anyone ranked. Niko Price is a savage. but he's fallen on some hard times recently. He's the younger guy. He's got a longer reach advantage. He's the younger guy by far, but he's coming off of a KO loss against Abdul Razak Al Hassan, and that's interesting. I think that's his first KO loss in his career. Yes, it is. First KO loss in his career. How does he bounce back? I think he's going to knock out Tim Means, if I'm honest with you. But let's see if Tim means business. We'll find out very soon, guys. Anyway, back to the schedule. Alexei Zaleski dos Santos versus Curtis Millender. I'm going to go with Curtis Millender. He's strung a lot of wins together at welterweight. Is it a welterweight? Yes, it is. He's a big welterweight as well. A real big welterweight. And if you don't know who Curtis Millender is, he's coming off 3 wins in a row at welterweight. He beat Thiago Alves in February, so he's done this all in a year. So Thiago Alves KOs him in the second round. Easy. Dispatches of him with a beautiful knee. Then he goes against Max Griffin, dominates the decision. If you don't know who Max Griffin is, Max Griffin, he beat Mike Perry. That's what you might know him from. Then Curtis Millender gets a decision, dominant against Sayar Bahadurzada. If you don't know who that is, it's the guy who front kicked a guy in the stomach, got a finish. The Middle Eastern guy. I'm being very careful with the way I describe him, but he is from the middle of the East. Nice and safe. But yeah, I think I'm going to give it to Curtis Millender. He's a streaking up-and-comer. Alessio Zaleski dos Santos is a savage. He really is. But I think in terms of momentum, even though dos Santos has strung together 4 wins in a row, 6 wins in a row, 6 wins in a row. Okay. I'm still going to go with Curtis Millender though. I think he's a savage. He's a big guy for welterweight. He could definitely fight a middleweight. So I'm going to go with Curtis Millender by decision. Boring. But by decision, he'll get it done. Derrick Lewis versus dos Santos. Okay, here's what you've all been waiting for. Derrick Lewis is good if he lands the big punch. And if he doesn't, then he's shit. Like, honestly, Derrick Lewis might be the worst fighter in the UFC, but he has the most knockout power. That's for sure. Other than Ngannou, of course. He just gets the shit beat out of him in every fight, but sometimes he comes back and wins. If you look through Derrick Lewis's career, you know, Derrick Lewis 35, the reach advantage goes to Derrick Lewis, the weight advantage definitely goes to Derrick Lewis, the Black Beast, of course. The fame advantage probably on Derrick Lewis's side at the moment. But if you look at Derrick Lewis, he had trouble against Roy Nelson. He gets it done by decision, you know. He was in trouble against Abdurakhimov, gets it done by TKO in the 4th round. He has trouble against Travis Brown. Travis Brown hurt him to the body all over the place. Derrick Lewis felt like he needed to shit himself, as he said. Derrick Lewis lands the big punch, gets it done. Mark Hunt deals with him. 2018, obviously the Ngannou fight. Sorry, what? Anyway, and then he moves on to Volkov, gets the shit beat out of him for the whole fight, but lands a punch with 10 seconds left to go. And then he loses to Daniel Cormier. Interesting rise. I'm going to go with... I don't know. You know what? I should go with JDS. But I think Derrick Lewis is going to get it done. Because JDS sometimes, when he gets guys... He's very technical, he is. But he does leave himself open to some counters sometimes. And I think if Taito Iwasa in the second fight was a bit more patient, he would have got the win over Junior dos Santos. And obviously Junior dos Santos taken a lot more damage than Derrick Lewis in his career. Actually, I don't even know. This is a 50-50 fight, guys. It's all dependent on if Derrick Lewis lands that big punch. JDS can be knocked out. We've seen it. Stipe knocked him out. Overeem knocked him out. We've seen JDS knocked out. But can Derrick Lewis land the big punch? I actually don't know. So I'm just going to gamble. I'll go with Derrick Lewis does land that big punch. JDS is going to be fucking him up for the first 2 rounds. Derrick Lewis lands a big punch in the 3rd. That's how I see it going down, guys. Great fights. But honestly, not great fights. I don't know why I said great fights. Only one I'm interested in. Anthony Rocco Martin fighting Derrick Lewis and JDS. That's it. And maybe Niko Price and Curtis Millender. I'll chuck those 2 in. But yeah, a good sort of filler card to keep the cards going. I love the way they're doing this weekly shit right now. I love watching UFC. When there's a 2-week break in the UFC, it hurts me inside. I love you, UFC. I love you, ESPN. Keep making these events, please. Good shit. Like and subscribe. Do all that good stuff. I'll see you on the live stream. I'll be streaming this Fight Companion live when it comes to it. So, like and subscribe, guys. Thank you very much.